All right, good afternoon. Welcome to the Thursday, August 18th Parks and Rec Advisory Board meeting. Mr. Chairman, we do have a quorum here and we can get started.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom. Thanks to everybody who's here, my my colleagues, and anyone watching from home. We will call the meeting to order, and I will take roll. Phil Cranmer.
Here.
Jason Alberici. Absent. Joey. Absent. Allison Catula.
Here.
Stephanie Butler.
Here.
Morgan Van Gelder.
Here.
And myself here. Next item is to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, in front of you is the agenda as proposed by staff today. If everybody is okay with the agenda, I would entertain a motion to welcome Mr. Alberici to the meeting. We'll duly note, we'll change the role since glad you could make it, Jason. If there's no changes to the agenda, then I'd ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting agenda for August 18th.
Okay, motion by Mr. Cranmer. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second by Stephanie. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. In front of you is the minutes from our last meeting on June 16th, prepared by staff, presented to us for our approval. If there are no comments on the prior minutes, I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
A motion by Jason. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Phil. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Public comment. Tom, do we have any public comment today for our meeting?
No, Mr. Chairman, there is no public comment.
Awesome. The next item on our agenda for today then is committee reports, of which we have many. So let's begin in recreation programming with Hopewell Baseball. Do we have
We don't have a
we don't have a
liaison, right,
liaison for baseball?
for baseball.
Yeah, we were gonna
And-
reassign
and that's
as
That's on today's agenda, is it not?
It-
Business for liaisons?
it sure is.
Okay,
It sure
so
is.
maybe you guys could tell us a little bit about baseball for a second.
Evaluations for fall took place last weekend. Triscapes has done a great job this summer getting the fields ready, back for safe gameplay. But fall season is anticipated to start as soon as this weekend. So we're looking forward to a great season.
Awesome. Do you know what they had for registrations, Thomas?
I have not seen registration numbers, but
Curious.
we can presume pretty large.
Pretty long.
Yeah.
Okay. Next on the list is Eagle Sticks.
Yeah, so I can talk to both the boys and the girls.
And the boys and the girls.
Yep, so practice will start next week. On the boys' side, registrations numbers for both Cambridge and Milton are just a little bit bigger than last year. So slight growth, talk to those guys there. But everything's getting ready to go for the fall. And then on the girls' side, they've already started practice on some of the rec teams and start with the rest of them here in the next week or two. I don't know if you know what his numbers look like going into the
I know
fall.
the elementary rec numbers for girls are way up.
Yeah, I don't have exact numbers right now, but my early indications from the program are they're substantially higher than last fall. I don't have exact numbers right now.
Good.
We'll be pulling that data shortly. Usually once practices all start,
Right.
the programs have time to start, going through their registration and sending it over.
We have a rec coaches meeting Saturday morning over here. So
Great.
get some more info.
Okay. Moving on to NFL football.
NAFL has
Batting in
been
place
they've been up and running for a few weeks now. Their teams are already in full-fledged practice. They start earlier. They did do their, actually Stephanie would be a great, if I miss anything, let me know. But they've been doing their conditioning since July. Numbers are good. I think they're up as well. Once again, I haven't gotten any data yet.
Right on the shoulder.
Next month, we'll be able to
Yep.
report on actual registration numbers.
Great. Halftime sports basketball.
Things are going well. I talked to him not too long ago. He has fall skills clinic up and going. Winter registration just opened last week. So he had no complaints. Everything was going well.
Great. Glad to hear. I have nothing to report on swim team. It's the off season.
Yeah, when the board last met, the swim team was already done for the
Yeah,
season anyway. But on the tennis side, he had 2 youth teams win city. So they were recognized at the last council meeting, and so they're doing great things. Terry's keeping on out there.
That's awesome.
No other early reports though. They're at capacity as
Yeah.
they always are.
As they always are. Yeah. Okay. Arts programming.
It has unfortunately been a slower summer for some of our programs as far as our dance. Photography had a great year. Dance, unfortunately, didn't make any of their summer sessions in June or July. We continue to push with all of our art programming. Actually, we'll introduce Matthew in a little while, but he's going to be helping a lot with our non-athletics and kind of bringing us up to speed, making sure our Milton Community Center is full of kids and full of programs. But yeah.
I'll bring it up perhaps later. I got another idea then there. Okay. Adult program. Thomas, you want to tell us a little bit about that?
We had our adult programming. So Tai Chi is our current program that is utilizing the Milton Community Center at Milton Park and Preserve. They've had a successful summer session and have decided to open a beginners and an advanced class. So those participants that joined us in June and July can go to the next stages of the subsequent classes. In addition, Rush Union, our adult soccer program, had a great summer, great turnout. They played out of Bell Memorial, White Cox Road, has been unavailable. Very, everything tends to run smoothly there, but they'll actually start their fall season September 12th, I believe, is their first week. They'll do. They'll play over at Legacy Park, and we're excited for another 7-versus-7 season, as well as 11-versus-11 season.
Awesome. Last item on their committee reports, Camp Joyful Souls.
The camp, we wrapped up our last week, the final week of July. We had an excellent turnout with all 7 weeks, but we had a great field day at Bell Memorial, joined by some awesome volunteers. I think it was a huge successful day, and our volunteers were amazing, as well as our staff and our leadership. So another successful Camp Joyful Souls for the city of Milton Parks and Rec.
Good. Great. That will complete committee reports. You know what? I should have led off the meeting, Tom. I didn't do it. We should probably formally allow your new staff members to introduce themselves to everybody in our city.
We could do that now.
Yeah.
So joining us today is Maddie Post and Matthew Graney. I'll let them talk a little bit about themselves, but Maddie Post is going to be our community outreach manager. And that was a position that was moved from communications over to Parks and Recreation right at the end of last year. And then our community outreach manager subsequently was already on her way out. So Maddie's coming in. She's got a great deal of energy, and she brings a lot of knowledge, not necessarily in the government sector, but she's over here. And I'll let her speak a little bit about herself. And then Matthew comes to us from Cherokee County Parks and Recreation. He was an athletics coordinator over there. He's also held a couple other positions at other places in similar capacities. He will be over our non-athletics programming, is kind of what we're calling it. So those dances and photographies and arts and trying to build up. Our athletics have no issue. They're very strong. We can't even hardly support them with the facilities we have. But we've always, since I got here, it's been challenging to get registration in some of these other smaller, I'm not going to use the word non-traditional, but not as thriving programs to get some traction. So we're trying to dedicate a staff member to really work on that. Among other things like the facility rental program, kind of being the staff intake for the financial aid program, and some other administrative tasks. But Maddie, you want to say a little bit?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me today. I am Maddie Push, as you said, and I came from Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. I've worked with Children's for a total of 6 years and then worked at a camp, a YMCA camp for 2 years. So have some of that Parks and Rec background in the camp side of things, but really excited to be here. Revamp some of our events, work with a lot of volunteers. I'm technically an Alpharetta resident, but live right on the Alpharetta Milton line. So spend a lot of time in Milton as well. So very happy to be on a shorter commute to the office and working within the city that we reside in.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Manny.
Thank you.
You could basically walk to Providence Park.
Oh, nice.
Yes, right up Providence. So
Very nice.
absolutely.
All right. Well, first off, thanks for having me. My name is Matthew Graney. I'm originally from Savannah, Georgia. Actually, it's called Richmond Hill, which is right below Savannah. I don't know if you're familiar with Richmond Hill. But I have many years of sports and recreation. After college, I was more of the private side, more of a neighborhood that was based on Hilton Head Island, and I did that for a couple years. And I transferred over to a resort, which was in Sea Island Resort, St. Simons. So I was more of in charge of the activities, programming, and stuff for kids, and also for corporate events as well. And then recently, I went to Cherokee County, and I was in charge of the youth basketball league there. It's a fairly big program, over 4,000 kids this past season. But I'm excited. But I'm excited to start this new position here in City of Milton, and I'm excited to help out this city and this community and try to add some more programs as well.
That's awesome. How many gyms did you have, Matthew, for 4,000 kids?
On a weekend, 24 to 27,
Oh.
and we actually use it, and we would use the school gyms as well too.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, they utilize Cherokee County Schools gyms, much like us.
Yep.
And they had an interesting setup over there that he was telling me about, which was pretty cool. Each school had their own little coordinator, and that would coordinate with him, and they would take their own sort of registration, I guess you could say. They would come through you, but people would sign up for their locations.
It was more of they had it would go through Cherokee County, and then what they would do is they could see the numbers for how many kids and also how many coaches would actually register. So they would use that number to find coaches and stuff like that.
That's awesome. Wow. Can only dream to have
4,000 kids.
4,000 kids in a program. We have 4,000 kids in our city in a program.
That's
One
right.
sport. We don't have enough room in the city for
Correct. Better expand
that.
our city.
Awesome. Well, welcome, both of you. Glad to have you. Next item is unfinished business, the discussion on heat guidance policy. Tom.
All right, so I have a draft. I know it's been several months since we last visited this, but I took the feedback from the board and kind of drafted up this policy for the heat guidelines out at the parks. And as we all know, it's just for the safety of the kids and the participants out at our parks. And I kind of took all that feedback from the board as far as the how we handle the temperatures and the reading of the temperatures and how we get through an evening where maybe the temperatures may be dropping or rising, and how do we administer that right now with the current city staffing that we have. And so this is the policy I came up with. Really the first 3 paragraphs are really what the policy is, and then the rest is more of just an educational why we do it. And I was just looking for feedback, see if we can, if this is more on track of what we're looking for. It's something we can start implementing here. If we get the board to approve it, we can send it down to the programs.
This will be a moment for discussion or comments. I'm sure you've got some real-time data. How many times have we exceeded the 90 and 95?
I have not been out to the park myself to do that. Lately, probably not at all.
Yeah.
I don't think we were canceling anything, but there was that spell where we had that heat, and I'm sure we would have had to cancel some nights in June.
We certainly pushed practices and programs to later in the evenings in those hot months.
Mhm.
So no cancellations, but definitely pushing.
So Tom, just from a process standpoint, as I read this, if it exceeds 95, then Milton will inform the program providers that are scheduled for that afternoon
Correct.
that it is canceled.
Correct.
And then they will inform,
Yes.
yeah.
And if the forecast is looking good, at that point, it would be up to the program to go out and the wet bulb thermometer will be available to all the programs. And if they feel like it's, it's definitely going to be dropped below, they can check the temperature themselves, record it at the park, and then they can do their activities.
Would that then suggest that we should have a wet bulb designee on each program?
That would
put it
be-
in the
that would be up
agreement
to the
saying
program.
There should be a position that somebody accepts responsibility, or two or three.
Well, I think it's up to, to your point, if you put it on the program, like, hey, if you don't, then you're just at 3:00 when it's red, you're out.
Right.
If you want to designate somebody, then you have a chance to get something in at 7 or 8
Yeah.
or when it's later. But if you don't, then you're just accepting of at 3:00 it's over.
Yeah.
Right? So I agree. I think you just put that right to them.
That might necessitate a change in the provider agreement to talk, because this policy would then get added to the cold weather policy
You got it.
that's already in it. And then
Right.
in this case, it's monitored in person and we probably want to be very specific about directing the providers to do something actively, rather than just say, when it, may it, you put somebody in charge of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was going to ask.
I'm looking at this, Tom, the only other comment I had is the second paragraph. Maybe it needs a little wordsmithing. I don't know if the city wants to dictate, but maybe the word is no organized outdoor activities or no partner program activities. Because I mean, if some mom and dad want to go out in a city park, are we saying the park's absolutely closed versus a programming closed? I mean, what are we?
Right. Yeah. We're just not permitting our programs out there.
Right.
Right. So maybe we need just a little wordsmithing to that sentence to be
Sure.
something.
I bet.
Is
But
this,
but I totally get it.
is this pretty standard with what we see other cities, counties doing?
Best example I could give is Alpharetta, and they just do a weather.com feels like, and if the weather.com feels like is above 95, then they'll cancel. But I was more interested in getting actual real numbers out at the park on the turf field, because what it feels like might be what it feels like on the baseball field, at Bell anyway. But on the turf, you could be upwards of 15, 20 degrees warmer, depending on how the sun's hitting it. So I wanted to do wet bulb, but yes.
And in fact,
But they do have it's very common to have mandatory water breaks at certain temperatures, and
Yeah.
historically, we've had a reference to the wet bulb in some of our original provider agreements, but yet it was never managed because it was talked about as a tool, but we didn't have one and we didn't do anything with it.
and we never, the programs were never encouraged or told to get one
Yeah.
either. So
So it's not
this is my way of
necessarily new.
enforcing and moving forward with this.
Mhm.
Is the wet bulb available on all of our fields?
It's going to be at Bell Memorial, and then we'll just use the temperature reading there, and Cox Road is not too far.
Okay.
It should read
So
similar
use that
temperatures.
reading to influence all
Yes.
fields, yeah.
I am looking at some automated systems that actually do exist for actually workplace, where there's a stationary wet bulb temperature reader that can send a digital message out to either a website or email when it exceeds certain temperatures. it's a little costly. So see how this goes, and it could be something we implement down the road.
Yeah. The good news is we're getting on the back end of the summer anyway, so
Yeah.
we've got time to
We're not.
educate and
Yeah.
promote and talk
But
through
we're coming out of the heat.
the heat. Yeah. I'm good with. I finally like it. It's very specific. Like I said, the wet bulb has been a reference since I was president of Little League, and that's a long time ago. But we never knew what a wet bulb was. So I'm delighted to have a very specific policy in place. Do you need to make any changes, or do you want us to you want a recommendation from us or a vote on the policy as it stands?
You can vote and just have that one change that you recommended in your motion,
Okay.
and I can make that change and we can put it out.
Yeah, then I think that's a great idea. So I'd entertain a motion to approve the heat index or heat guideline policy. It seems like we're calling it two different things. As presented with modification to the second paragraph, just to smooth out what the city is specifically saying about activities that are permitted in the temperature ranges prescribed.
I'll make a motion to approve the activity heat index policy as stated, with the exception of the one modification.
Okay, a motion by Phil. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jason. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. That's awesome. Good work, Tom, staff. That's awesome. Moving into new business. Tom.
All right, this first item is the GOSP is the Georgia Outdoor Stewardship Program. It is a grant that the city's looking to apply for this year. We applied last year for essentially the same project that we're intending to do again this year. And it's to complete the loop out at the Milton City Park and Preserve Trail. And do the required hydrology work that's going to be incorporated with that. The hydrology studies wrapping up now or done now. That's a public works project. And then this would be to construct and build the remainder of the trail and all the hydrology incorporated with it. I thought it'd be good to bring in front of this board and get some feedback on, the outdoor stewardship program is a grant that's intended for outdoor use and to better the environment, whether it be the water quality or, the recreational use or the wildlife habitats. There's many different categories that you can kind of fall into or try to hit as many as you can for the most points. And I was just looking for maybe a motion or a recommendation from the board as to, if this is something that this Parks and Rec Advisory Board would support. It would certainly help our application to have some of our boards, have formal approvals of moving forward with, this project for our application. And just looking for feedback. And if there's anything else this board may have in mind for such a project. The good news is we did apply last year. We got close to getting it. So we kind of have a good skeleton of an application already ready to go. And but yeah, I'll turn it over to the board and we can discuss.
How much money are we talking about, Tom?
A lot.
Yeah.
$1.5 million.
Nice. Wow.
Could something like that be utilized to help the outdoor space at a school? The parts where Fulton County won't step in and do where they need the city to help. Could something like that be applied to making an outdoor classroom or an outdoor space better for students?
Potentially.
Okay,
We
that
can
could
look
be
into it.
interesting because I've had Crab Apple Crossing staff and PTO members approach me about helping make their outdoor space better.
We can talk about that
Okay.
and see if that would fall into it or not. I don't know how it would affect necessarily we'll have to see how it fits.
Sure. It'd be worth
We can talk about it.
exploring.
We can talk
Mhm.
about
All
it.
right, cool.
Any other comments, thoughts?
I think it's great.
Yeah. Chasing grants is a admirable job and role for the Parks Department to support our ongoing trail expansion at the Park and Preserve. So I'm all for it. I guess we should make a motion to say that we support the Parks Department in applying for the grant, and that way Tom's got one more board saying all good.
It's actually going to be Emily running with that. So
Even fun.
it'll be the city that'll be applying for it.
Yeah. Great.
I'll make a motion to support the Parks and Rec going for the grant for Milton City Park and Preserve.
A motion by Jason,
Second?
second by Phil. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Good work. Good luck, Emily, with that. Next item of new business, the Wall of Fame ballot.
All right, give me one moment, please. Okay, here we are again. The Wall of Fame ceremony will be here before we know it. I want to start by urging all the Parks and Rec board members to get this back to me as quickly as possible so we can get all this tabulated and get the winners out so we can start scheduling and seeing who we can get to come.
Yep. Do we know the date do you have a date for the actual ceremony?
We don't have an actual date yet.
Okay.
I think we need to get with the programs. I think I don't want to do it on Championship Saturday. I think I want to do it the week prior.
Yeah.
So we can maybe hit some more families coming in and going out.
Yep.
Because on Championship Saturday, not everyone plays.
Correct.
So I'm thinking maybe do it. I think it's the first or the last weekend in the last Saturday of October is probably when it's going to fall.
Okay.
But that's not been solidified yet. Once we get the baseball schedule and lacrosse schedules, we'll throw it in. Typically what
October
we've always done.
29th, whatever that is.
Yeah. But we have the ballot, it's complete, and we did do some changes to the Wall of Fame criteria back in January. So the members on the ballot fall off after their 3 years to try to keep the pool not so large.
Yeah. Yep.
So this year with the 2019 nominees dropping off, we've got 12.
Okay.
And the way it works is your favorite one, you give it a 12. Your next favorite, you give it an 11. You don't repeat the same number twice. So if you think someone's done exceptionally well or two that are the same, you got to pick which one you like more. And if you think two are not so worthy, you got to pick one number two and one for number one. We can't have a bunch of number ones.
Yep.
With that, I'll turn it back over. I just wanted to present it to you
That's awesome.
and let you know the urgency of getting this back. It's only 12 nominations, so it shouldn't be
It's a little easier than
work this
prior
year.
years.
Yeah, and previous years we were up to, what was it last year?
Was it 18 last year?
I think it was
It's
18.
pretty close to 20, I thought.
I think so.
Um,
And we've got some good ones in here too.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty happy
And
about
remind
that.
me how many from here will go, is it just one?
It depends.
Okay.
It depends. You have to get 60% of the possible points.
Yep.
Okay.
So if there's 12, so 144, whatever 60% of 144 is, that's,
I would, understanding the timing involved and the notification process, I'd ask my fellow board members to consider trying to have this done by Monday, if we could, if that's not too much. It'll give us time to get to Joey and get that done. That way, if we'd have it in by the end of business Monday, that'd be great. And you got the weekend and a couple days to work on it. But I think it's great. Do we need a motion, Tom? We're just going to generally agree? and
no need for a motion.
Move on and
Yep.
get it in on Monday.
Yes.
If you got questions, call Tom and with the process or call me and we'll get our votes tallied. That'd be awesome.
So for those of you that are newer to the board, we included the process here and the nomination form. You can actually use this one if you want, or we can send the Word document over and you can actually just type in what numbers you want to give each one and just email it back. However you prefer, we can do that. Or you can handwrite this in and scan it.
Yeah.
Difference to staff.
Okay.
All right.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom. That'd be great. Next item under new business, discussion of program liaison appointments. Now that we have a full slate of Parks Board members again. This discussion, Tom, we want to make appointments, agree to appointments, and
Yeah, I think I'll throw this one back to you.
Okay.
If you want to just, what we can, here's what we've done in the past for our, it's on your screens. I don't know
Yep,
if your
so
screens
sure.
are on. This was the way we organized them.
Yeah, so I guess,
Guess we probably keep it this way at this point, and then once, if we end up growing to, there's too many programs for one person to handle, we can look at maybe breaking them up.
so our 2 openings are in baseball and football, right?
They are, and
I'll do football.
Funny that you mentioned that stuff.
Volunteering before she's asked,
Um,
right?
I think that'd be a really nice addition as liaison to the football program.
is everybody that currently has an activity or program good with what they currently have? You want to keep everyone that's already appointed and just fill in the 2 holes? It would be easiest that way. I'm just throwing it out there. We can always shake it up too.
We could do that. I've said it, I've tried a little, maybe we formalize it. Maybe I'd take back on baseball and grab a hold of trying to manage that a little bit. So I'd be happy to grab baseball, if anybody wanted something else, or if we wanted to, swim and tennis aren't that labor intensive, but if you guys were okay with that, I would follow Stephanie's pattern and become a liaison to a program which I'm very familiar with.
Well, I was just
Yeah.
mentioning how involved Allison is in girls lacrosse.
I mean, yeah, Joey and I are both
Our
equally.
board is littered with lacrosse.
Yeah.
And baseball and football,
Yep.
all things.
Yeah.
I mean, I could, well,
Yeah.
yeah. My son doesn't play, we're not with Hopewell baseball,
Okay.
but we do baseball as well. We're Alpharetta though.
Meetings are recorded.
I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, I'm happy to help wherever. I mean, if, yeah,
I-
anything works.
There's lots of voices for lots of sports, and I would be very happy to have you join Jason and Joey in lacrosse, and just
Yeah.
you guys all kind of
Sure.
talk together and bring us your reports every month. That'd be awesome.
Absolutely.
That'd get you involved there. Morgan, anything light your fire?
I have all daughters, so I'm out with most of the boys' sports, but I would love to do swimming and tennis.
Ooh, there you go.
That's good.
That'd be
Actually, that
awesome.
works out great.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I'm assuming, Matt, that you got that all recorded for us. And that
Jason, you're good with keeping Kim in halftime?
Yeah, I can, if somebody, I have 2 kids in it, so
Okay.
if somebody wants it, I'm happy to do it, but, or give it up, but
All yours.
That's awesome.
I know him well.
And Phil's going to give us a great report next month on
Yeah.
arts and adult.
Phil is gonna.
Thomas is going to give me points of
I
contact.
think I'm off
following
duty.
this
I think
meeting.
I'm off duty.
That's awesome. Those are some good assignments, and I know that some of you have. My kind of vision of how the liaison role works is you're try and get a little closer to the program to have them know that you're there as a resource to them. Sometimes the programs take the resource, sometimes they don't know what they're missing. But it's certainly a vehicle for them to interact with the city rather than just pick up the phone at every minute and call staff and vent. So if you have questions going forward.
And I would urge all of our PRAB members to reach out to them the week before the meeting.
Yeah, so Tom will give us when we get the new ones done, you'll give us the contacts for the respective programs so everybody knows who to call, and
Bet.
Morgan can know to call Terry and say, hey, how things going? What do I need to know? And
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
so you guys send it
By
out
the end
to
of the
us.
week, we'll get it out to you.
That'd be awesome.
Probably today.
Great.
We go back to the office after this, so.
Darn. Next item is city staff reports communications.
All right,
I jumped the gun, took care of number 1 already.
what's that?
I said I jumped the gun and took care of number 1 already.
We moved number 1 up already. The Milton City Pool update. The pool pass membership was record number this year. We broke 400 pool pass members, which is a pretty good number for a pool that size. And we made it through. I think I closed the pool one day for a pump going out, and actually one day this week for we had the lifeguard get sick. So they called out last minute and they couldn't get the shift filled. So unfortunately, we had to close down. But outside of that, it's been a pretty smooth summer. Not a whole lot of negative feedback from the community.
Equipment was all good, survived?
The equipment is surviving. We had to do some moderate modifications to some of the electrical this summer. We were burning through pumps much more often than we should have been. And so we had a special electrician come out that knew a lot about pool equipment and everything. And there was some voltage and amperage issues that were maybe causing those pumps to have issues to go out. So since then, we haven't had any issues. Now, it hasn't been that long yet. The question is, are we on the same pump this time next year or not?
Right.
But it's been a successful pool season, and
When do we close it?
Labor Day
Labor Day,
weekend,
couple
the
more
Monday, Labor Day is the last day it's open.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
Next item, update on construction at Legacy Park with its new name.
I should have left this one for the end so everyone can just keep waiting and waiting. We're going to be able to have our programming out there next week. The construction is not completely done yet. They have to install an ADA compliant sidewalk to get down to the lower field because there is a big drop there. And if any of y'all are familiar with construction right now, getting concrete takes an act of God. So they had like a 3 to 4 week wait time on the concrete. So they've got it all graded out and ready for the concrete. We're looking at how we can just temporarily open the park safely right now until we're waiting on that. They're going to kind of clear out of there a little bit and get most of their equipment out in the meantime. And then once the concrete's ready to come in and get poured, and a couple of other little punch list items, we got a little fence we got to run next to the retention pond to keep folks from jumping up into the hole. But we should have all that done, and then we'll be operational as early as next week.
Awesome.
Awesome.
I don't see why it shouldn't be, and the fields look really cool. I was really happy the way that the baseball fields turned out with the football field. It doesn't look goofy at all. It's going to be nice to be able to really put anything out there.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
Great.
Lord knows we needed the space. Equestrian improvements at various parks.
Record time here.
Yeah.
So we've had 2 equestrian improvements out at one is the green space out at Freemanville and Birmingham Road. It's impossible to miss the big gravel parking lot out there. The intent there, in fact, we had a Milton Equestrian Committee meeting last night, and we discussed how we're going to utilize that space for the equestrian use. Whether it's are they just going to gallop around the meadows, or are we going to have trails that are kind of back there so you can at least ride somewhere, maybe someone that's not so experienced to go on like Birmingham Park where there's a lot of up and down in terrain. So it's not going to be just for equestrians out at that park, but having the ability to have the horses out there is nice.
Mm-hmm.
So that portion of the project, as far as I know, 99 or 100% done on that park. The work out at Birmingham Park, we did a big horseshoe kind of parking area. It is, if you haven't been out there, check it out. Even if you're not a horse person, the parking lot is huge. You see like an aerial shot, it doesn't do it any justice. You see pictures, it doesn't do it any justice. You could probably fit 10 horse trailers, like big horse trailers, 10 big ones in that area. There's hitching posts, there's water. We drilled the well. There is water down there, so we're still waiting on getting the well finished up. They got to hook up the electrical and get the pump going. But that improvement is nearing its completion as well. So we've got a lot going on for the equestrians, which is great. That's
awesome.
part of our landscape here in Milton.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
So I just wanted to share a little bit about that as well. And that'll conclude the staff reports today.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom. Anyone have anything else for other business? I was saving, an idea hit me and I'm going to save it for other business. So, you did mention your Parks and Rec guide going out. So I was happy to see that the city issued that. And I was looking for all the splash, normally the city promotion, and I wasn't sure that I saw all that. And I know that's not you guys to do, that's communications, but I wasn't sure that I saw it in the same focus that I'm used to seeing communications talk about some things.
Yeah, there was a Facebook post, and it'll go into the newsletter. It'll go into every newsletter now.
Yeah, yeah,
We'll just
yeah.
make sure we remind everybody. But it didn't get the same homepage recognition and, you know, little header on the top of every single page on the
Right.
website. That wasn't all done this time.
So it prompted me to think, and having Maddie here maybe as an opportunity, right, in community outreach, because there is a relationship between city and large subdivisions,
Hmm.
right? Since there's lots of them, and we're kind of a town dominated by organized planned communities. I wondered if there was an effort to communicate the Parks and Rec guide into the communities to push, because I see in my neighborhood, one of the bigger ones, a lot of like, where does my kid do this kind of posts? And some of it's in that book.
Yes.
And I wondered if the city could better get the homeowner associations to be a downstream channel for promotion of all things Parks and Rec.
Yes, yes. And we have done a little bit of that. And it's something we could do a better job with. There's no doubt about
It's
it.
just a thought.
And we do have, the question is how up to date are they? But we do have a database of emails, ways that we can tap into. So, good idea,
It sounds
Scott.
like a kind of a communications outreach slash.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
good
don't
idea.
have that data, but we have access to it.
Yeah. The other thing I was thinking about, and we talked about having a meeting off-site the last time we met in June. Did we not?
We did in June.
Did we talk about going out to the the preserve and park?
Oh, yeah, and doing a meeting there?
And have a meeting there, maybe? Yeah,
Do that?
have our next scheduled meeting there and conduct it there and have a little tour and then meet there
We can do that.
and announce it that way. I mean, I haven't been in the building. I haven't really been on the property much. Maybe it's a way for us to.
Okay. I think I'll need a motion to move the location and then we'll just put it all on the website and get it over there. We
Thoughts,
can't
ideas?
record it
I
there,
like it.
but
Yeah.
We gotta, you have on here the 16th, September 16th,
15.
the 15th, right? Thursday, not Friday.
oh,
Is that an issue for the city if we can't record it? Do they? Okay,
that shouldn't be an issue.
okay. So I think it'd be just
I think it's a
a
great
little
idea.
change of pace and get our eyeballs on something in a simple way. So if I'd entertain a motion to move our meeting, if you guys are good with that.
I'll make a motion to move our September 15th meeting at 6 PM to the preserve.
Second.
Motion by Phil, a second by Stephanie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Great. Anything else for other business? Comments, random thoughts? And I will entertain a motion to adjourn our meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Jason,
Second.
second by Phil. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Nice work, everyone. Thanks, Tom. Thomas, Matthew, welcome. Maddie.
I know, nice to
Yeah.
meet you.
Glad to have
Welcome aboard.
Welcome.
Morgan, welcome.